Movement. Where? 200 yards, 12 o'clock. I don't see it. What do you mean you don't see it? It's right there. I don't see any bad guys. It's right there. The brown. That's a bush. Give me that. Oh. All right. Move out. Freaking shrew.
What's up, everybody? Shrew Tactical here. Video we got for you today is definitely a dead horse, but you know what? We haven't beat it yet, and so that's what we're gonna do.
Love beating horses.
Yeah, especially when they're dead. They don't kick back.
That's true.
This is getting weird. Anyways, so we wanted to do our own version of a comparison between, EOTech with 3x magnifier and LPVO, which I run on my 16-inch. I think there's some known entities, right? Like when we do our shriv drill up close, the EOTech probably has an advantage. This is a 1x8 night force, so this one we're going to dial it all the way out to 1. It also has an illuminated reticle, so it'll be red dot-ish, but if you guys have ever shot one of these, you know that the eye relief from this to that is significantly different. This does have a 45-degree offset red dot. We will not be using it today for the comparisons here because this is strictly LPVO versus red dot / holographic that's magnified. So we're going to do the shriv drill at a closer distance. Didn't measure it because that's how we roll, but probably about 25-ish yards. And then we're going to push out to 100 yards and then 200 yards. We'll range find those so that we're on the money. Standing on a close to red ants. Might have just got bit, but we're going to power through. Anywho, join us for this. We're gonna keep it pretty simple, a little scientific and a little non, because that's how we roll. All right, so shriv drill. Starting with the EOTech, non-magnified. Obviously, we're at approximately 20-ish yards, and then gonna run this one, and then we're gonna run it with the LPVO. I imagine this one's gonna be faster. I think part of this is just see how much faster it really is. So,
shooter ready.
Shooter ready.
All right, overall time 8.3. Splits of 0.69.
Okay. 8. What was that overall?
8.3.
8.3. Seems slow.
Shooter ready?
1 sec. So just on presentation, I'm trying to decide if I want to run 1x or 2. First focal plane optic. So the reticle gets bigger as you zoom in. Obviously, you zoom in too much, you're going to lose your field of view. But on 1x, the little illuminated reticle, which kind of looks like a red dot, is tiny. But I have way better field of view. So just want to get some sort of happy medium. All right, that's about 1.5. So we're going to run with that. With that in mind, shooter's ready.
All right. $10.43.
Yep.
Splits of 0.77. So
felt slower, and at that point,
almost just over 2 seconds.
Yeah. So, in terms of hits, I think accuracy was probably about the same. You think you have to take your time with this one because you don't have as much field of view. So you're going to come into the next target, running it 2 eyes open, of course. But imagine it would be slower, so 2 seconds slower with similar accuracy. Okay.
Yeah, running it cold too. So I mean, obviously, if we did it over and over and over, something to think about.
That's true.
Shriv drill with the EOTech. I'm going to go for time over accuracy because that's what shrivs do. Okay. You go from the low ready, or were you?
Low ready. Yep. Okay. Shooter ready?
Shooter is ready.
Nice. Oof. Quick. 6.58. Nice job. Splits of 0.55.
Shooter is ready.
Still faster than me. 8.22.
Okay.
Splits of just over a second.
I mean, initially, as far as going for speed, I had a really hard time reacquiring the image through the sight, and that's obviously it's not my rifle. I'd have it probably set up a little different.
Definitely slower. My guess is accuracy is going to show when we put the hit counts in the video. Accuracy is okay. It's just you're slower.
Yep.
So kind of a combination now. We've got one at 20-ish, one at 100. We measured that one, and yeah, we could measure the close one, but at this point we're just choosing not to. And then one at 200 yards. So what we're going to do here is kind of a 3, 3, and 3. So we're going to do 3 shots on the 20, 3 shots on the 100, and then 3 shots on the 200. We're still going to use the shot timer. Just curious about how long it takes to go from target to target to target, and then obviously looking at accuracy and accurate shots at longer distances. This is all with the typical 62 grain green tips that we're using, which we don't normally talk about what we're shooting on the close distances because it typically doesn't matter. But 200 yards, you're starting to talk about quality ammo making a difference, having an impact. So I think it's certainly quality enough for a 200-yard shot, and we got the torsos out there. So this isn't for tight groups, but this is for torso impacts at 20, 100, and 200 yards. Difference between the EOTech Magnifier and then the Night Force. Let me get it out of my own mouth there. Okay, so yeah, let me get that one out. So I'm gonna run it first, and we'll hop in with the EOTech. All right, so we're gonna run this, but I want to talk really quick. We're not gonna go prone. We're not gonna use bags or bench or anything like that. Like to try to find shooting positions that you might actually use in a scenario. So if I'm shooting at whatever at 20, 100, and 200 yards, I'm probably not. I'm probably out and about doing whatever. So this is a defensive scenario, an apocalyptic scenario, whatever you want to call it.
Looking for cover and a brace.
Yeah. Well, probably more concealment in this case, but we won't go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's true. Cars don't do the greatest cover, but
video on that to come. So with that said, I'm gonna post up here. What did I say I want to do? Yep. All right. I'm gonna start with safety on, and then shooter ready. 3, 3, and 3.
3, 3, and 3.
Yeah. And then I think the trick here is I'm gonna go magnifier on 200, just as I'm kind of looking down at 20 and 100. I don't need the magnifier, but when I get to 200, I can just barely see the target. Get out of my face, fly.
Okay, shooter ready.
Yep. Okay, shooter's ready. Okay.
Did you shoot 3 down there?
Yep.
Oh.
What do we got?
What'd you think?
I had a miss at 100, and then I think I had one miss at 200.
And then 2 at 200?
Did I have 2 misses at 200?
I'll have to review the tape.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was getting eaten by a bug. Sorry, I got distracted.
it's yeah, the flies route. It's harder to hear with these
15.28.
Okay, 15.28. All right. I mean, I don't know if I can say I expected anything all that much different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, now LPVO, same thing. 20, 100, and 200. 3 shots on each.
Shooter ready.
Starting in safe. Shooter ready. Oh, my position's not as good. Okay.
All right, 14.78. So a little faster.
Yeah, the shots on the 20. What I did is I was able to leave it at what I do, just under 4x here. So shots on 20 were just boom, boom, boom. Shots at 100, I rushed one. I had a miss, which is ridiculous with an LPVO. And then at 200, that's where I, had reestablished my position, took my time, and I think had 3 out of 3 hits on that. So, it's a scope. You can see better farther with the scope. What's your plan of attack with the EOTech?
I'm gonna go. Just regular optic right at the 20-ish yards. I'm gonna go with the magnifier at 100 and end of the 200. So.
Okay.
If I was going for straight time, I probably could just go optic up and not have that transition in the middle of the drill. Although I think a realistic scenario would be just using the red dot, and then obviously utilizing the magnifier
There you go.
for further distance.
And I one of the things that just popped into my brain here is target identification. We put that target out there. We know that that's the target we're shooting, but at 200 yards, even with my prescription glasses on, I may not know for sure what's out there, and you don't want to shoot indiscriminately at something. So, that being said,
That'd be wise. Oh, we're gonna get in position here.
yep.
All right, shooter ready.
Start with safety on.
Oh, safety on.
That's what I did.
Oh, sorry.
Well, we're just keeping things
Okay.
shrivy. Shooter ready?
Ready.
Okay, 16.29.
Missed all three at the 200 mark. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Good hits otherwise, though. You going to adjust magnification at all, or you?
I am, especially since I'm having trouble hitting 200 yards out.
Fair enough.
Aiming a little high on that last one. All right, shooter is ready.
Okay.
I am having trouble.
3 for 3 on the last guy. Okay, so 16.36, so just a hair slower than the EOTech. More hits though, for sure.
Yeah, again, and for me, I mean, especially with time, and maybe it's my sunglasses, and again, not my rifle. Definitely having trouble finding the
Eye relief.
The eye relief. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's that word I was looking for.
Yep.
So, and that's just me. But again, I mean, jumping from rifle to rifle, that's where I'm. I find it, but if I move just a little bit, it's certainly with it being magnified all the way up too. But obviously, as you can see, definitely a lot easier to hit further out.
Short range wrap up here. Just jumping in. So why do I have this? This is my 16-inch, obviously, and this used to be the only AR I owned. And then when I started getting into AR pistols with the 10.5s, then I decided that I could have kind of a different use for either of them. So this one went to more of a, I've said it before, like a DMR style, something that I'll probably put a bipod on and use it for a little bit more of range, accuracy, things like that. Again, I have the 45-degree offset red dot if I needed to use it up close. For the purposes of today, we didn't use that because it would be a lot faster on the close shots. That's its whole purpose.
Absolutely.
You still run, for now, EOTech and Magnifier 3X. Talk about what you thought of the differences between the two, since I've got some trigger time on this rifle and you really don't. So
overall, there's no doubt. Further shots, you got more accuracy, you got a clearer picture. Again, I struggle with that a little bit, but that's the eye relief set up more for him, not me, and we didn't screw with that. So in quick transitions, I definitely I had a little bit of issue with that. But again, if it's your rifle, you're going to have it more set up specifically to your body size, shape, and all that. So why do I run this over that? So a lot of stuff initially for me was just visually aesthetics. This is I love the way it looks. I mean, that sounds stupid and maybe even shriv-ish.
well, if you don't love the way it looks, you'll never wear it.
That's true. Overall, with the 3X, at the 200, definitely you can see it. You can see the target. You have trouble seeing it accurately enough to follow up shots. Sure, with practice, and I'll even be the first to admit here. Jared and I even had a conversation. We've been coming out making these videos a lot, and we haven't actually been quote unquote training, so to speak. So actually, after I missed it a bunch, I sat there and shot, and kind of sort of zeroing in on where I should be hitting that target at. And a little eye-opening that we need to get back out and run some drills ourselves, regardless whether we're filming or not. Again, I like this. I think it is more versatile, that's for sure. As a whole, I mean, even if you do need to reach out to 200 yards, it is functional, especially with practice, you're going to get there. But there's no doubt the LPVO is going to outperform it further distances.
Yeah. Final considerations, if you're curious about this setup, if you're shooting at 100 and then you want to roll into something at 25, it's really easy. There's mounts where you can put it on top. I kind of like the 45 just because it's a rollover, and then I can go back into my eye picture. cost-wise, this is an expensive scope. That's an expensive setup. I think, you know, if you're looking at budgetary options, though, you can go down to some entry-level Vortexes, some Swamp Foxes. I think 6 Hour makes some entry-level LPVOs. Nothing wrong with that. First focal plane versus second focal plane. The quick version of that is first focal plane, when you zoom in, your reticle gets larger, and that's so that you can use your bullet drops that are built into your scope at any distance. Second focal plane, that's not going to be true. You can click in at any point, but second focal plane is either going to have a marking on the scope where your bullet drops are correct, or it's going to be full magnification. So for me in this weapon, I went with first focal plane. Then when I dialed out, my reticle got really small, it illuminates, and then I can still kind of use it as a red dot. And then when I zoom in, reticle gets really big. Sometimes I got to turn off the illumination because it's blocking out whatever I'm actually trying to shoot at. But lots of different companies make a lot of different reticles and options. Definitely do your research on that. But if you prefer this setup and you don't have, you know, what is this, a $1,200 setup or more?
I mean, with the Unity riser and everything,
Yeah.
yeah, it's up there. It's probably in the $1,500 range. But I will say just one thing, and I mean, obviously, there are companies that make affordable optics that are going to run fine and they're going to be there. But at some point, too, I'm a buy once, cry once. And I just, you know, it can be frustrating if you buy something a little less than what you really want. And I get it if you can't afford it. You know, I would definitely, you know, stash money, save those shekels. Don't put it on a credit card or anything because that's foolish. But the quality comes with the dollar point, especially with the big names, and there is a difference, 100%. But that being said, you definitely can find functional things with a cheaper price point.
Yeah.
Vortex is a great example of a company that's got a superior warranty over almost anybody else. Obviously, all the big names claim they have their warranties and this and that, which they do. There's probably some discrepancies depending on what they cover and why they cover things. Personally, we've experienced Vortex warranty, and literally it can fall up the back of the truck, be run over, be thrown against a rock, thrown up in the air, all these things. And they just
maybe right here once.
Right here once. And they're going to take care of it, no questions asked. And they even out front, they even say that, I believe, as far as we don't care what happened to it, send it to us, we'll take care of it. So, you know.
So didn't mean to turn it into a Vortex plug, but they're a great company, so it's hard not to.
Yeah.
Even though we have no Vortex on any of this.
No, it's true. Just started rambling on it just because the warranty is, you got to note it, and that they are, you know, awesome.
I do run the Huey Gen 2 on my 10.5s. All right, so with that said, hopefully you guys learned a little bit. If you're in the conversation of LPVO versus red dot or holographic, we just gave you some quick data to look at and help make your decision. So once more, someone else has stepped up on YouTube and beaten that dead horse.
Yes, that horse is still dead.
Like and subscribe.
I'm using Jared's ammo. I forgot mine. But that's what friends do.
Yeah, even Shriv ones.
Yeah.
45 cents a shot, by the way. That's the friend discount.
Now, put it on my tab. Always got to check Jared's mags.
It happened one time.
I might have 2 clips of it, to be honest with you.
All right, 5 times. Just hit it. There you go.
That was high.
Yeah. It's at 36 yard zero.
Yep.
Out, and you might just be in a normal situation where you have to. Okay, I'm going to start this over. Stuff like this when we're trying to be, just trying to. God, Jesus.